In every era, people imagine that global recessions are born from chaos, from market crashes, wars, famines, oil shocks, banking collapses. But sometimes the spark that ignites a worldwide economic crisis is not an event at all, but a sentence, a moment, a single speech delivered at the wrong time, in the wrong tone, to the wrong audience. Because words said by powerful people are not just sounds, they are signals. And in the world of markets, a signal can be more catastrophic than an earthquake, which is exactly what happened on that day when one speech, spoken calmly, confidently, almost academically, detonated across the global financial system like a silent bomb, freezing credit markets, tanking stock exchanges, bankrupting companies, and sending millions into panic. A disaster so rapid, so total, so humiliating that governments and central banks spent years pretending it was caused by something else, anything else, because they could not admit that the world economy, this massive machine of trillions of dollars, billions of workers, and thousands of institutions, was fragile enough to be shattered by a few carefully enunciated sentences. Yet that fragility had been building for decades as markets swelled with leverage, speculation, and blind faith in policymakers who promised stability. And on that day, the world listened as this official, standing behind a podium under bright, sterile lights, delivered a speech meant to reassure, meant to soothe, meant to show control. But instead it revealed uncertainty, fear, and a subtle admission that the people in charge did not actually know where inflation was going, did not know whether growth was real, did not know if the banking sector was secretly drowning in bad assets. And the moment those doubts leaked into the air, markets, hypersensitive, paranoid, leaning on complex algorithms and delicate sentiment, reacted with the speed of panic, dumping assets, hoarding cash, halting lending, until the liquidity that kept the system alive evaporated in hours, leaving traders staring at screens that looked like they were bleeding, entire indexes collapsing in synchronized freefall from New York to Frankfurt to Tokyo, while news anchors stuttered through breaking reports about unexpected volatility and temporary dislocations. Even though the truth was simple, confidence had shattered, and in a confidence-based system, that is equivalent to a heart attack. And as the speech replayed around the world, economists dissected it like a crime scene, identifying the exact phrases that sent shockwaves through bond markets. The warning about overheating risks, the admission that fundamentals may not be aligned, the chilling implication that corrections may be necessary, all of which investors interpreted not as analysis, but as prophecy, as a quiet confession that the people steering the ship had finally spotted the iceberg. So institutions began pulling money out of emerging markets. Corporations halted expansion, consumers panicked, banks tightened credit, creating the exact recession the speech was trying to prevent. And what followed was the classic downward spiral. Layoffs accelerated, demand collapsed, governments scrambled with contradictory policy announcements, interest rates were raised, then slashed, then raised again, sending even more fear through the system, while the speech, that one speech, became the subject of congressional hearings, academic papers, government investigations, and endless debates. Was it poorly written, poorly timed, misinterpreted, misreported, or was it simply the truth spoken too plainly to a world addicted to comfortable lies? And yet the deeper, darker lesson was this. Global recessions are not always triggered by shocks, but by belief. Because modern markets are giant psychological organisms reacting not to reality, but to expectations. And when expectations turn, when trust cracks, when the illusion of control collapses, the system unravels, revealing the terrifying truth that the world economy is not a machine but a mood. And on that day, with that speech, the mood changed, and everything else followed.